What's up, everybody? Welcome into Onorato and Company. Chris Onorato and Ashley Miller with you each and every week here on the News Channel 13, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube pages. And of course, if you're watching us on TV, it's a Saturday night and you are watching My Four. Hey, Ash.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Good always. We've got a lot to get to on today's show. Couple of guest segments. You are embedded with the Albany FireWolves franchise as their sideline reporter. We've got the head coach, Glenn Clark, on the show to kind of recap I'll call it an inaugural season. I know it isn't a new franchise. It's a continuation, but it's a new location for them. So we'll get Coach Clark's reaction to the first season, which ended up in the playoffs for his team. Volleyball League of America, we introduced you to on News Channel 13 through Novice Clothing Company. Big tournament this weekend out in Indiana for the VLA. We will talk to a couple of guys with the VLA and where this league is, and how far it's come. But the big topics on today's show: Yankees or Mets? Which team do we think has more staying power? And of course, the NFL schedule release is coming. We've got a few games we're already looking forward to. Ash, let's get things going here on Onorato and Company. All right, so baseball. Which team right now in New York for you is king right now? And then we'll talk long term here.
Yeah, I'll go Yankees. I wouldn't go Yankees long term, but I will go Yankees now. I just think 1 through 9 in the lineup, they're not clicking all at the same time, but they've gotten contributions from everyone in the lineup at different points. We saw Aaron Judge get his first walk-off home run. We saw Gleyber Torres have a walk-off. We saw Gleyber Torres then have a 5 RBI day the other day, contributed all 5 of their runs scored. So we've seen it come from all different places. And Nestor Cortes has established himself as the best pitcher in that rotation so far this season, which is pretty unbelievable when you have a guy like Garrett Cole. But the numbers don't lie. Cortes has been ridiculous through the first 6 starts of the year. So if they keep getting that from him and Cole continues to kind of start to find himself, they have enough other pitching that I think they can make it work.
Okay, you're not calling Nestor Cortes the best pitcher in that rotation.
No, I'm just saying he has been the best pitcher, and he has been by a long stretch. He took a no-hitter into the 8th inning. He's got an ERA that's a little above 1, I believe. So that's better than Garrett Cole's numbers so far.
Yeah, Cole has been better since that really rocky opener, and he's clearly the best pitcher in that rotation. But Nestor Cortes has been easily the most pleasant surprise of the season as we stay on the Yankees here for a little bit. But he's been the most pleasant surprise for the Yankees this year, hasn't he?
I mean, and I think we saw glimpses of that last year. He had a couple starts where it was kind of like, who is this guy? And now, people know who he is. Yankee fans know who he is. But he has certainly shown that he has the ability to potentially be a number 2 or number 3 guy consistently.
And as we sit here on a Thursday morning, by percentage points, the Yankees have the best record in baseball. Meanwhile, the Mets have the largest division lead in all of baseball. They were the first team to 10, 15, and then 20 wins. And they just continue to find ways to win. They dropped one Wednesday night. Tyler McGill was not good. Or we're going Tyler, aren't we? He has said he wants to be Tyler McGill. He was not good against the Washington Nationals. But I've said it here on the show in my Popeyes Louisiana Fast Minute that this Mets team feels very different to me this year than prior years. And maybe it's the fact that they have Max Scherzer and they added guys like Starling Marte, and they just feel like a more complete team that's not going to flame out once we hit July and August. So if I'm picking the team with the most staying power, I think I'm on the Mets here. I think I'm on the Mets here because the potential return of Jacob deGrom. Now, we don't know what he's going to be, but we know he's going to come back at some point. How long he'll be in that rotation, I don't know. I've said on the show, too, that he concerns me. But even if they don't have deGrom, I still think this is a really difficult team to contend with in the division alone, but even across the National League here. And it's because I think I trust the lineup more than I do the Yankees lineup. And that's crazy when you're talking about a former MVP like Giancarlo Stanton, a second place finisher and an MVP like Aaron Judge. But I think the Mets lineup is more complete, more consistent.
Consistent is the word. Yep.
Okay, when runs need to be produced.
Correct. Yep. When you need manufactured runs.
Yep.
I would go with the Mets lineup. And that's what I was going to say. I agree with you. I'll take the Yankees now. But I'm not convinced that is the staying power team. I think the staying power comes from the Mets, because I think 1 through 9, they are more consistent. You get too many strikeouts with the New York Yankees, and it's either boom or bust on that team. That's not so much the way that this Mets lineup is built.
Nick says he has McGill on his fantasy team. Wrecked his week. All right, there's no way you drafted Tyler McGill, right? He had a couple of good starts, and then you ended up picking him up, right? I have to believe that that's the case. Sam's watching. Good morning, Sam.
Good morning, Sam.
He is a Mets fan. Mets and Jets, they go together. He's singing the Mets song here, his first place New York Mets. And like I said, that's been a comfortable lead in the division, Ash. They've been in first place since opening day. And it's been a comfortable lead of at least 4 or 5 games, and it's ballooned even to the point of 7 recently. Jay's watching. First thing I heard was Chris saying the Mets lineup is better, so might be time to say goodbye.
No, he didn't say better. He said more staying power. So across the long term of the season.
I think I feel the Mets lineup is better.
Well, then I disagree with you there.
Okay.
But
injuries scared Joel for the Mets bullpen. Yeah, especially sure. Everybody has bullpen issues across Major League Baseball. At the moment you think your bullpen is rock solid and dependable is the moment you have a week of just absolute blow-ups in a bullpen. That it is, I don't know, are bullpens the most tenuous situation in all baseball? They may very well be. Guys go
did you see the tiff between Scherzer and Syndergaard? Have you seen this play out?
I've seen some of this.
Okay.
Yes.
So I just want to know your opinion, because you were pretty vocal about the fact that, hey, the Mets, classic, when you're talking no-hitter, classic that you've got the Johan Santana situation and then a combined no-no. Well, Syndergaard comes out and runs his mouth about the combined no-no, which, number one, be quiet. Like, it's your old team. Just leave it alone. But I like the fact that Max Scherzer fired back at him.
Oh, yeah. You're curious if I think Scherzer's out of line here?
No, I'm just curious about what you think about the whole situation. Number one, Syndergaard running his mouth about the Mets. No. And then number 2, Scherzer sticking up for his team.
Yeah, Syndergaard, shut up. You have to stick up for your squad.
Yeah.
Scherzer's doing what he should do and what I would expect him to do.
But it was a little, I mean, he went kind of the extra.
Yeah. That's Max Scherzer.
Yeah.
Max, there is nothing about Max Scherzer that is not ultimately intense.
Yeah.
That is who he is. He goes over the line in every situation, it feels.
I love it.
You know what I think about the combined no-hitter. I think it's one of the lamest things in all baseball. It shouldn't even be considered a no-hitter. But I get it. The other team didn't have any hits. I get it. I get it. Yeah. Yeah. Right. The fact that it ended up being the Mets, I think, is funny. We'll ask the question here later if we think a no-hitter or a cycle is more impressive. We've seen both this week.
Yes.
Curious to get your thoughts on that here.
And I guess we should clarify what Max Scherzer said in case people don't know. Scherzer basically came out and said the closest that Syndergaard will ever get to a ring is the halo on his head because he plays for the Angels, which I thought was pretty funny. Creative, funny.
Yeah, right. And, you know, it is. It's creative, funny. It is a first-place Angels team.
I know.
It's a Noah Syndergaard who has been pretty good.
He's been very good.
So I don't know if I'm not saying LA is going to win the American League, but they're a heck of a lot better this year through a month plus than I really thought they would be.
Yeah.
Yankees and Mets, as we sit here in the middle of May, will they both win their division?
No.
Who has the better shot?
I knew you were going to ask me that. I'm going to go Mets. Just because I have a little more faith that the Blue Jays are going to turn things around than
Tampa.
than the Braves. Nothing against your Braves.
Yeah,
I just
no, I'm
think
with
that
you.
division will be a little bit of a tighter race. Whereas if the Blue Jays get hot, the Yankees are not going to continue to win 15 of 17. And I just think the Blue Jays are going to figure it out. So I think the Yankees will have a tougher time doing it, but I think they can win that division.
I'm with you 100%. I think better shot to win the division is the Mets, because I don't believe in Miami. I don't believe in Washington. I don't believe in Philadelphia. It's either the Mets or the Braves. And in the AL East, if you told me, in 3 months that Tampa was in first, I'm not going to be surprised. It's what Tampa does.
Yep.
And the Red Sox are better. They're not good, but they're better than they've been.
They're
So
not that
they'll
bad.
present a little bit of a challenge.
And they won't continue to be that bad. And we saw it the other night against the Braves. Their offense broke out for 9 runs. That is what their offense can do. Their pitching will be the problem. But on any given night, when you have Trevor Story and JD Martinez and Rafael Devers and Xander Bogaerts, they have some of the best players in the world on that team. So scoring runs will start to come for them. I believe that Trevor Story's bat has started to come around. So I just think that team is not going to sleep forever. They're not going to win the division, but they will give other teams problems throughout the season. They'll take games from the Yankees. They'll take games from the Jays.
Took games from the Braves. Well, one anyway. And Joel points it out, another strong performance by Ian Anderson. 5 1/3, 4 strikeouts, 3 runs allowed. They got him off the hook by scoring 3 early, so he could get out of there without a loss. They end up winning on a walk-off anyway. Interesting comment here from Sam. Braves will have a championship hang. No playoffs.
That's bold.
Now, look, if you don't win that division,
Yep.
I don't know that you make the playoffs.
Right. Then that's probably where the problem lies. Yeah.
The NL West is going to send 2 teams. Division winner and a wild card team. Are you getting the other wild card out of the East? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Unless the Braves and Mets play really well for a full season and they're 90+ wins. Got to be 90+ wins to get into the playoffs, I would imagine. All right. We've seen in this last week alone both a singular no-hitter and the cycle.
Yeah. His third, by the way.
I know. I was going to get to that with Christian Yelich. So Reid Detmer's 22-year-old rookie for the Angels throws a no-hitter, 12-0. By the way, it feels like the Rays get no-hit almost every year. I meant to look that up, how many times they've been no-hit in their franchise history. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So Reid Detmer throws a no-no for the Angels. He's the youngest guy to do it in about 15 years. He's 22 years old. And then Christian Yelich on Wednesday hits for his 3rd career cycle. What's more impressive to you, the no-no or the cycle?
This is going to sound like I'm talking myself out of things here. The no-hitter is more impressive. The individuality of that feat, the duration of it, you're going to go 100+ pitches. What it takes to do that is more impressive. I think it's probably more difficult to hit for the cycle, but so much of that is luck. Like, it's just so hard. It's so hard to hit for a triple. Things have to fall the right way. You have to be able to hit for power. Like, so many things have to go right for you, and not that they don't have to for a no-hitter. To me, a no-hitter is more impressive. A cycle is maybe more difficult.
All right. So your answer
I don't think
is
it's harder. I just think it's more difficult in terms to achieve. Like, it doesn't. It's more rare.
Which impresses you more? That's
the
what I'm asking. Okay. I'm impressed more by the cycle, I think. And some of your answer is laid out in mine here. In a no-hitter, right? If I throw now I get it. Look, Reid Detmer's only struck out 2 guys. He didn't have overpowering stuff. So his defense is helping him.
But you gotta, get ground balls.
I get it.
Fly-outs.
But he's got 7 guys behind him with the ability to help in this process. First of all, in most major league games, you're only getting 4 at-bats. So you've got to optimize every single one of those at-bats. You can't strike out. You can't take a walk in order to complete the cycle in most cases. And you're going to face multiple pitchers. And it's just me. And I've got, obviously, the defense to worry about here. Like you said, there's, of course, an element of luck. But I think the more impressive thing is the cycle because, like you said, it's more difficult. So I'm going to say because it's more difficult, it's more impressive.
Yeah, I'm going with I'm going with the physical nature of a no-hitter. Like you know what I mean? It doesn't physically, it's not difficult. It's not taxing. You're not exerting yourself
Hmm.
as you would a no-hitter. It's just
Hmm.
the individual feat of a no-hitter to me is tremendous. I get it. You need players to catch balls and all that stuff. But you're doing all the pitching.
You're doing all the pitching. Yeah,
You're
that's
doing
true.
all the pitching.
That's true. Okay. Yeah. All right, let's do a little bit of well, let's take a quick time out here.
Okay.
When we come back on Onorato and Company, we have some NFL games already to look forward to. Now it's a Thursday morning. I realize the schedule is coming out Thursday night. So if
Yeah.
you're watching us on Saturday on My4, you already have the full slate, but it has been leaked bit by bit, and there are already some games that are worth looking out for in this 2022 NFL season. We'll hit on those. We'll break them down. We're back in less than a minute here on Onorato and Company.
At Marcella's Appliance Center, our commitment is to you, providing essential appliances that families depend on for cooking, refrigeration, cleaning, and sanitation, plus appliance repair. You can have peace of mind that Marcella's is here for you today and every day, like we have been since 1957, helping you make the right choice with trusted brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, JennAir, and many more. Shop Marcella's Appliance Center in-store, online, or by phone. We're here for you.
And now back to Onorato and Company, brought to you by Alpen House.
All right, so we're talking about what's more impressive, pitching a no-hitter or hitting for the cycle. Sam did the homework in the commercial break. He says there have been 315 no-hitters all time, 335 cycles all time.
So not rare.
Not that I don't trust him, but I will check it.
Yep.
Yeah. Not more rare, which I would have thought rare. Fewer cycles.
Yeah, I think there's just maybe not as big of a deal made about the cycle. And I know Yelich was kind of made a big deal, hits his third one. I just don't know that people go as crazy about a cycle as they do about a no-hitter. The attention drawn to a no-hitter, it seems like maybe they happen more often, but yeah, they probably don't. You're looking it up?
I'm looking it up here. Yeah, you're right. There's definitely okay. So we've got 316 no hitters now. I think when you add
Detmers,
it goes to 316.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, you certainly don't get the attention on a cycle as you do a no hitter. A no hitter gets splashed on the homepage of ESPN.com.
Yep.
It is the lead highlight, no matter what happened that night. A cycle may not necessarily get either. I know it didn't. I looked at 3 o'clock in the morning on ESPN.com, and Yelich was like the second or third headline even that he had gotten his third cycle. So no, it certainly is not played up the way a no-hitter is. All right, as we wait for the schedule release on Thursday night, by the way, I mean the NFL, and I wrote this for the morning show, Faith read it. The NFL can turn anything into a prime time event.
Yep,
like
that story.
No matter what song Luke Combs records, it will be a number one hit on country music radio. It doesn't matter. He could record a lullaby and it would go to number one. The NFL will always find a way to turn what seems to be the most mundane of things into a prime time. They're going to tell you what teams are playing what teams and on what day. And people
freak out
at 8 o'clock on Thursday night are going to be locked into this. And it will be all anybody talks about on Friday is, hey, do you see the Sunday night matchup in week 6 between Mahomes and Brady, or whenever they end up playing that game, Kansas City and Tampa Bay? The Bills are part of a Monday night doubleheader in week 2. Dallas will go to Green Bay in November. 2 teams that potentially will be able to knock off the Rams as defending NFC champions. So what are your takeaways early on here, Ash, from the NFL schedule, the games that we know at this point anyway?
Oh, I don't know a whole lot. Let's be honest. I've been rather busy. So have you, actually.
Okay. Well, so
even just looking at the one that I did see and the one that you have written here, which I thought, ooh, that would be fun to go to, was Dallas at Green Bay.
I know. Me too.
Because I know you want to get there. So I did think 13th. Obviously, I'm all in on the Giants in Green Bay and London. I'm all about that.
You are.
I love London, but I think it would be cool to see a game over there. It's a little bit wild. I want to sit in a stadium full of people with random jerseys on.
Okay. Yeah.
Such random jerseys.
And I don't know if I've said this, but my view on that is if I'm going to spend the money, do a long day of travel, I want to end up at Lambeau Field for a Packers game, and then we can prioritize a London game somewhere else down the line. I thought about this too. I'm like, hey, Dallas Green Bay, that'd be a good game.
Yeah.
It's November 13th.
Oh,
it's
November.
not super, super cold yet. Yeah. That's not a bad one. We'll see. You know, it ends up being, although it's a Fox game, we already know that it's a Fox game. So it'll be the 4:25, 3:25 Central. Not terrible. Mm-hmm. That's a possibility.
You might get some sunshine.
Bills are game 1 of a week 2 Monday Night Football doubleheader.
Yes.
And that's Tennessee at Buffalo. So the Bills have gone to Nashville the last few years. Mm-hmm. They will get the Titans at home, and it's a very different Titans team.
Yeah.
But what a game that was last year on Monday Night Football, where they had Buffalo had the ball at the goal line. Mm-hmm. And if Josh Allen doesn't slip, they very likely win that game.
Yeah. That game was awesome. And I think too, like it's not become, I'm going to call it a rivalry, but it's become, they're two of the better teams in the AFC. So I just think people circle them as, like last year, I think a lot of us circled the Bills and the Titans as division winners, predicted that. And you kind of thought, hey, I'd love to see them meet. So whenever they get together, it's kind of one of those, oh, who's the best in the AFC right now? Even if the Titans aren't the Titans, they've still got, by the way, Derrick Henry. Yeah. So it'll be fun no matter what. But I love that they're going to be in Buffalo.
And obviously, they spent a first-round draft pick on a wide receiver too. So but this is my point here. People are commenting about rumored games. Rumors. Bengals maybe on Thanksgiving. Okay, Sam says you might get the Jets and the Pats the first Sunday. Okay, rumors about the NFL schedule, games, what teams playing what team. But I get it, man. I absolutely get it, everybody. That I looked at the Packers' strength of schedule this year. Like, okay, is this going to be a tough year for Green Bay? It actually isn't. Their strength of schedule, the majority of it is under 500. So, for a team that doesn't have any receivers, we'll see how that works out for them.
Right. Still haven't picked anybody up yet, right?
No, but everything I read this morning was, it's going to be Odell Beckham. Oh, it'll be Odell. It'll be Odell. Okay, we'll see.
You want a guy who's torn 2 ACLs to go play in the frigid cold of Lambeau Field? That doesn't feel like the best plan.
I know. Other guys out there like Julio Jones, Jarvis Landry. We'll see.
Yeah.
They have to do something. They can't sit where they are now. I get Sammy Watkins and Christian Watson and Alan Lazard.
They can.
Got to add somebody else.
They can, and they have.
I know.
So we'll see.
I know. Every time I think I think they're going to they will do something. I know they will do something. That isn't always the case. All right, this weekend's a big weekend for Volleyball League of America. And we introduced you to this league, probably the introduction for many people, Ash. I don't know, a couple months ago now at this point, where we interviewed Chris Hosley, local guy, Columbia High School. And he is part of this league. He's on one of the teams that is sponsored by Novice Clothing Company. They're all outfitted by Novice Clothing Company. And it's a huge weekend in Indiana for the VLA with the VLA Cup. We're going to talk with a couple of guys who are deep in with this league. One of them's a co-founder, and one of them is the official announcer and commentator. We're going to talk with Loy Ball. I see him. He's ready to go. We'll get Loy fired up. And
look at him. He's fired up. He's in the green room. We got him in the green room.
Ready to rock here when we come back from this quick commercial break on Onorato and Company. Loy, hang on. We're back right after this.
Teams, athletes, organizations. We're transforming the custom apparel industry through product and purpose. Claim your crown.
And now back to Onorato Company. Brought to you by Albany House.
And Ash, a shout out to our guys at Novice Clothing Company, Nick and Garrett Bernardo and the entire team outfitting the show, outfitting News Channel 13. And bigger and better than all of that is outfitting the VLA, Volleyball League of America, where this weekend it is VLA Cup time. 20 teams, a wild bracket scenario of pool play and then championships to be played on ESPN Plus. A big deal for this league, live streamed on ESPN Plus on Sunday. Let's bring in our two guests here, Loy Ball and Rob St. Clair, both with the VLA. Gentlemen, what's up? It's good to see you. Thanks for taking the time with us here in Albany, New York. Loy, I'll start with you, man. How are you?
I'm great. Always good to be on here. I apologize that you're friends with Chris Hosley, but I won't hold that against you. We're super excited to have the third annual VLA Cup here at the Ball Sports Academy. We shut down all the club practices tonight, the rest of the weekend, so that these 20 awesome teams of some of the best men player in the country can come in here and showcase in our little neck of the woods up here in Northeast Indiana, lake country, but also volleyball country. So I know our fans and people here in Angola are excited to see some high-level volleyball over the next 3 days.
Loy, is this cool for you? You're an Indiana guy. Is this cool for you to have kind of in your backyard and be spearheading to try to grow the sport where you are?
Well, it's super cool, actually. And to be completely transparent, one of the reasons why I joined the VLA and helped kind of be on the board of directors is that I was still playing. And selfishly, I enjoyed playing against good competition. Now that I am way past my prime, and Rob, please don't comment on that. It's just nice to be able to show our 28 club teams here in Indiana and Team Pineapple and our community what top level volleyball looks like. Obviously men's volleyball doesn't always get a lot of love publicity wise and on different news channels and stuff. So the fact that we're blessed to have ESPN coming on Sunday and doing live streaming the events, obviously the great voice of the VLA, Rob St. Clair, will be announcing those games. I'm super proud to be part of it. Because this is a great year. We go from 5 teams to 20, tier 1, tier 2, continue to grow, draw the attention of ESPN and other sponsors around the country. And we did it the right way with a great group of individuals that I'm very proud to call friends as well as co-founders of this league.
Rob, let me ask you about the growth of this sport that, Loy has kind of hinted at here. Where is this league now compared to what you thought it was when you started, and if you can even quickly enough, like what's the ceiling for this league?
That's a very good question. So from where we started it, from when the league was born just before the COVID pandemic hit, the aspirations for it were big from the beginning, but we ran into a significant, very obvious roadblock in March of 2020. We're able to play just one event that year at Loy's Place, then a limited season last year. Now this year, with the full schedule that we were kind of planning from the beginning, we're only just now starting to see what we thought it could be from the beginning. And like Loy was saying, the growth of the number of teams and the depth of talent that will all be converging on Northeast Indiana this weekend is just insane. It's crazy. And the league has done such a good job with the model and the competitive model of the tier 1, tier 2 thing, the way that the divisions play against one another, the promotion over years, the whole thing rewarding both quality and quantity of games played. And the thing that we've always known as those of us like Loy, who's obviously been in the middle of the highest level of volleyball that's ever existed, and me, who's just been on the sidelines watching it for years, is that all we have to do is bring our great teams together and play great volleyball. That's the easy part. Putting that in front of people for them to get hooked on it is the part that's harder, because men's volleyball isn't on the radar of many. So getting all the teams to Loy's gym this weekend, and I'll be hitting the road later today, is honestly kind of the easy part. Now that we have this deal with ESPN where we're going to be putting this level of the game on a stage where it's never been before, we're hoping to put it in front of more people that it can catch their eye and just realize how ridiculously fast, dynamic, and exciting the game is. So it's going to be a big weekend for us. I'm really excited for it.
Loy, we've seen a similar agreement here locally. We have a team in the National Lacrosse League, and they just signed a big deal with ESPN Plus, and we've seen what that has done for this league. Can you just kind of expand on what it means to create this partnership with ESPN Plus? Because listen, you're going to get a ton more eyeballs no matter which way you cut it.
Yeah, we've worked really hard over these last 3 years with our YouTube channel and subscriptions to try to monetize this league. We don't have big hundreds of $1 million investors coming in saying, hey, we want to be part of men's volleyball. Obviously, that's our goal, but we also understand our demographic and where we're at right now. So having said that, we've been blessed to have some viewership. ESPN obviously brings that to a whole new level, right? Mm-hmm. The name ESPN is synonymous with high-level sports, something that, the men's volleyball game has slowly become part of, as now they're streaming a lot of college games on ESPN+. But to be the first men's professional league on ESPN shows the due diligence of people like myself and Rob and our entire board, who just wouldn't take no for an answer. And I have no doubt, and I tell people, whether you watch it on TV, on ESPN Plus, or here at the Ball Sports Academy, once you watch high-level men's volleyball, you're hooked for life. We were just blessed enough to be out the Final Four. My son's Ball State team was out there. I took my 15-year-old daughter out with us, and we're watching these guys from Hawaii and Long Beach and UCLA and Ball State, guys our size, 6'9", jumping 40 inches, balls going 80 miles an hour. You can't wrap your head around that if you've never seen it. And so the fact now we're going to see it live here at BSA this weekend, and millions of people can watch on ESPN Plus, amazing blessing. And I know the biggest step that we've all taken right here at the VLA.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So again, Sunday matches on ESPN Plus. Let me get some of our guys in here. This is our guy, Chris Hosley. He's fired up and ready to go for this weekend. Todd J as well. How about this? He's got a plug for himself. The Todd J photography logo. Man, you guys are obviously partnered up with our team, Novice Clothing Company, but Todd J with a plug for himself here in terms of the logo that you're rocking. That's all part of it too, right? Is finding the right partnerships that work for this league, is it not?
There's been a lot of people who have helped us get to where we are, including Todd. The way that Todd captures photos of such a fast, dynamic, ridiculously exciting game and freezes those into one frame, I'll never get over the awesome work that he does. Eric Martin, our graphics guy, has done a huge amount of work just presenting the league digitally in a way that's super polished and professional. And then companies like Novice, I got rocking the Novice shirt right now, them stepping in this year and jumping on the bandwagon of men's volleyball for the first time for their company has been a huge step up for this. The teams are just obsessed with all the Novice gear, and just the way it comes across on TV and the way it's going to look on ESPN Plus is just phenomenal. It really gives the look of a professional league that we've been after. So companies like that, people like that, we couldn't do this without them.
Well, how about from your perspective as a co-founder of this league, having the partnership with our local company? A shout out to Nick and Garrett Bernardo at Novice Clothing Company, the apparel that they provided for this league.
No, it's huge. Listen, like I said, this grassroots men professional league doesn't happen without great partnerships. And Novice, we're so blessed that Chris Hosley brought those two wonderful individuals to us, worked out a wonderful deal. I think benefits both sides, and we're very proud to be wearing tremendous sports gear and representing them this weekend. So absolute shout out to Novice and all the wonderful things they've done for us already in this first year. Same with Mikasa and the volleyball, same with the city of Angola, helping us some of our overhead. It takes an army, guys. Like I said, there's just not one guy writing a check behind this. It takes 20 to 30 young men and young women trying to put this thing together. It takes great partnerships like Novice to pull it off.
What can we expect this weekend? 20 teams, 4 pools of 5, 3 courts. For people who have never been a part, like me, who have never been a part of something like this, why should people watch? What are we going to see?
Not to speak the obvious. I'm going to go first, Rob. Not to speak the obvious, but obviously a Team Pineapple victory. That's obviously Team Pineapple, hometown favorite, so the team to beat. I'm going to lie if I said I didn't boost the roster up a little bit for this event. So we're looking, despite the coaching, we should be a good team. So I'll let Rob actually get into the rest of it.
Yeah. I love Lloyd plugging his team. I'm expecting big things from Team Pineapple and just a lot of the other teams here. So I've been billing it this week in some of the shows that we've done and the coverage leading up to the tournament that this is the biggest and best men's volleyball tournament ever played in the United States.
Wow.
Perhaps not by the national team when Loy and his Olympic teammates were touring the country back in the day, but an event like this has never been pulled off at this level before. And just the number of teams, 20 teams, the depth of talent, and the number of unbelievable matches that are going to be played is pretty unprecedented. And you're going to want to be a part of it. It's going to be very dense and chaotic and just volleyball everywhere on Friday and Saturday before those 20 teams are reduced to 6 that will be playing on ESPN Plus on Sunday. And that is going to be that polished professional product that I think is going to take us to the next level. And Loy's Gym, the Ball Sports Academy, is the perfect place to kick this off. It couldn't be better of a venue to host us this weekend and really to showcase the game on the level that we're looking forward to. So it's all going to come together extremely well. I can't wait to be there tonight.
Yeah, we've shown in our graphics that Loy, obviously his Olympic career and a gold medalist. We didn't mention it verbally here, but Rob, you alluded to it there. Let me ask you something though, because I'm looking at your backdrop. I'll leave this shot up here. You've got the Purdue jerseys behind you and guitars. Better volleyball player or guitarist?
Ooh, tough call. I'm a little past my playing prime as well, but pre-COVID, it might have been a different story. But you see 2 jerseys and 6 guitars, so you can probably do the math. But commentating the game, talking about the game, that's a little bit of a different story. I've really taken the volleyball coverage that I do to the next level since COVID, really. Not only at the VLA level, but I've gotten the chance to cover some unbelievable volleyball all over the world. I've done some CEV Champions League in Europe. I've done the Italian Professional League this year. I'm going to be on the road commentating national team tournaments on site this summer, which is amazing. But it all started with this group, with Loy's group, with the VLA, and I'm always the most proud to be the voice of this league in particular.
And were you at Mohegan Sun earlier this year?
I was. Yeah, I got
rave reviews from the novice guys who were there with your work as well.
Well, that's exactly the point, is that those guys hadn't, they got in touch with Hosley, they got connected with us, but they hadn't seen the game in person until they were there at Mohegan in Connecticut. And I loved getting to meet all the guys. The novice guys are awesome, but they got hooked. They got hooked immediately when they saw the teams playing in person, which is exactly what we're going for. So they're kind of case in point in what we're trying to do. And when we are able to show the game on ESPN this weekend, that's going to do such a good job of translating how fast the game is, how big the athletes are, how dynamic the game is when you see it in person. That'll translate to the screen this weekend in a way that it never has before. So it's all coming together really well in that way.
Well, Rob, I know you said you're going to hit the road. Loy, I know you've got work to do to get ready for this weekend. We can't thank you guys enough for spending some time with us here in Albany, New York, and the NBC affiliate. And we're proud of the work that our local company does here in Albany, but you guys are doing big things nationally. Yeah. It's cool to see this sport grow, and the speed of it certainly will be on display on ESPN Plus on Sunday. Everybody go check it out. Rob and Loy, thank you so much for the time, guys. Have a great time this weekend.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you.
All right, good stuff there from them. Again, the VLA Cup this weekend in Indiana. Just had a gold medalist on with us, by the way.
No doubt. And Loy was my favorite. He's my favorite green room. Game. I mean, dude was I wish everyone could have seen that. He was dancing. It was my favorite interview so far just because of the antics. It was awesome.
Yeah, good energy from both guys for sure. All right, when we come back here on Onorato Company, speaking of the green room, I see our next guest ready to go, the head coach of the Albany FireWolves, the inaugural season. I'll keep using inaugural because the first season here in Albany, New York with the FireWolves, and Glenn Clark, Ash, somebody you know very, very well. Let you take the lead on this interview, no doubt about that. But let's take a quick time out here. And when we come back, we'll be joined by the head coach of the Albany FireWolves. Hang on, back in less than a minute here on Onorato Company.
At Marcella's Appliance Center, our commitment is to you, providing essential appliances that families depend on for cooking, refrigeration, cleaning, and sanitation, plus appliance repair. You can have peace of mind that Marcella's is here for you today and every day, like we have been since 1957, helping you make the right choice with trusted brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, Genair, and many more. Shop Marcella's Appliance Center in-store, online, or by phone. We're here for you.
Happiness is found in simple things. The sun on your face, sharing laughs, at the campground, getting wet, relaxing together. The love of family. There's never been a better time to go outside and play. Alpenhaus Pool Spa Boat and RV. Bringing families together and creating memories since 1964.
And now back to Onorato Company. Brought to you by Alpenhaus.
And a shout out to all of our partners here on Onorato Company, from our guys at Novice, who we've talked about, to Popeyes. We've got the Louisiana Fast Minute still to come here on the show. Marcella's Appliance Center, where all of our appliances are from. Ash at Home, of course. Alpenhaus, our presenting sponsor, Andy Heck and Katie Osborne. Pick Six
Couple new
Vodka.
names.
We'll back with Pick Six Vodka in a week or so with our Preakness predictions.
Yes.
And yes, you said it. Really proud to welcome in KPM Restoration. We'll be doing more of that rapid reaction breaking news stuff thanks to KPM Restoration, Jamie Kennedy, and our buddy Jeff Stack over at KPM. If you have flooding, there's water damage, smoke damage, if there's been a fire at business, home, whatever it is, KPM Restoration should be absolutely your first call. And then Bill Miller, who I can't wait to introduce you to, Ash, at Performance Industrial, one of the great guys, and he does so much good work for the American Cancer Society. We love having him on, and we'll be starting a new segment with Performance Industrial called Dirty, Difficult, Done. But our guest coming up now is the head coach of the Albany FireWolves, and that is Glenn Clark. And Ash, I've said it to many FireWolves people that it's the best TV crew in the league, the one that covers the Albany FireWolves. I'm biased, of course.
I was going to say, your wife works for them, so you have to say that.
But it is a great crew, and I'm sure Coach Clark would attest to that. Coach, it's good to see you, man. Thank you for taking the time with us here.
No problem. Thanks for having me. And
Hey,
I do
Clark.
agree. Hey, I do agree. Best broadcast crew.
Good. Well, I'm glad you agree. He's biased too, though. So,
Coach, how did the first season in Albany go? If I just strip away all wins and losses, all results of it all, we were so pumped going back to months before this season started, the announcement of indoor lacrosse coming back to the Albany region and the capital region. How did this season go from your perspective? There were challenges with COVID still, and travel was an issue at times. But from your perspective, year one a success?
It is. I mean, you really have to think about what you were trying to accomplish. I mean, we were trying to make a mark in the community. We were trying to, establish a footprint. And I think we did that. And you saw an escalation in fans and engagement and energy in the building. And it was all positive signs. And, you get to this point now and you reflect on the season, you kind of forget how hard the startup was with, testing 5 times a week and the travel restrictions. I couldn't even get in the country. I missed training camp because of visa issues and all. So it was a real challenging startup. And you sort of, even though it was only 6-7 months ago, you kind of forget about all that. And the last month and a bit, we were playing our best. We made it into the playoffs, fell up short, but I mean, against a really good Buffalo team, who was arguably the class of the league. So we showed well, played well. And I think, that's the game, that's the team. But I think in terms of community engagement, that's just going to get better and better as we go.
Yeah, Coach, I know you said you used the word escalation, and I think the biggest positive maybe to come out of it was that last home game. Listen, it helps that you had to win. People are in the building because they know what's at stake, but the announced attendance was 6,600. It felt big. It felt different. Does that just kind of give you hope for the future, knowing the last game of the season that you played at MVP Arena, you had your best showing, and it felt like fans were really into it?
It does, and it's, when you talk about a crowd and engage, it energizes the team and there's home field advantage. That's a very real thing. I mean, it's very tangible. I mean, you go into a building and there's not, there's not that atmosphere. You lose that advantage. And we really felt it. And in particular in that last game, and everything you described, Ashley, the buildup, the importance of the game, the atmosphere we're playing in front of. I think it was just it's a great springboard into next season. And I think the important thing is, and I've said this all along, is it's a sport that you have to, you get somebody in and you keep them. And that was very important. I mean, we had probably the most live eyes on that game. And I think that's very important building over the off season and certainly into next season.
There's great stability with this league too. So people in the Albany area who are maybe like, they just have bad memories of teams leaving or leagues falling apart. That's not the case here. The NLL is expanding, and they're going to one of the biggest sports markets in America. Las Vegas is absolutely blowing up. They'll have a Major League Baseball team, in my opinion, very, very soon. So, Coach, if you could talk a little bit about where this league is, where it's headed, and how excited you are for the future as it really just continues to grow.
It really does. And when you talk about longevity and stability, I mean, I believe 1987 was sort of the foundation or the startup of the league. And, I've been involved. I had the opportunity to play back in the early 90s, 92, 93. I didn't play then. I was on a sort of a hockey path. But when I joined and started playing the NLL, it was late 90s, 97, 98. And just the growth since then. And probably the biggest thing, I mean, you had big crowds. When I played in Toronto for a lot of years, and we'd have 17, 18, 19,000. Like, we were very successful. But probably the biggest difference is the ownership. Now we have NHL owners, we have NBA owners, we have, the stability of ownership, which is, I think, what people should pay attention to, because when you have that level of ownership, the stability is inherent in those franchises. So that's good for the growth of the league. And you mentioned Vegas, and when you look at Joe Tsai, Wayne Gretzky, Dustin Johnson, I mean, those are people that aren't going anywhere, and they have the resources to build, because you really do. You can't be one and done. You need resources to build, to grow, to get longevity. And I think all our franchises are built on that model. So you're bang on when you say, although we're 1 year into Albany, the league has stability and the other franchises have stability as well.
And Ash, let me just jump in and say this too here as somebody who's just on the outside of it, right? I'm not in it like you guys. In this sport and in this league, these are the best players the world has to offer. And that's the difference, right? It isn't a minor league of any kind. This is as good as you will find on planet Earth in terms of playing lacrosse. And to me, that's the biggest difference here in terms of like how successful can it be? How long will it be in Albany? As long as they want it to be.
Yeah, and exactly right. And it is the best players, and it's actually, I'll quickly deviate. The reason I was a minor pro hockey player, I pro hockey and pro lacrosse, kind of had them going at the same time. And that was one of the decision factors for me, is I was, I thought, I can still probably play minor hockey, or I can make the shift to the NLL where I'm playing with that sport's most elite, absolute top player pool. And that was a big decision, because the NLL also allowed guys at the time to continue in their other careers as well. You had that balance. So it was a factor in my own personal decision to sort of, finally decide which league and which path I was going to go on.
Coach, we get an expansion draft this summer in July because of Las Vegas. Where do we go from there? Like, can you explain how that works? Obviously, you have guys who you can protect. You're going to have free agents. Where do the lacrosse decisions fall? How do the dominoes fall from here until we come back next season?
There's probably three major events. And the first one is the expansion draft. So how that works is we're allowed to protect 10 players and a goalie. So we're allowed to protect 5 of our offensive players, 5 of our defensive players, and 1 goalie. So that's difficult. That's challenging. So you can protect more defensive players if you protect less offensive players. But our configuration will be, we'll protect 5 offensive players, 5 defensive players. So that's the first, sort of major shake up and challenge. And it's exciting. It's exciting for the league. You get to watch sort of how Las Vegas puts a roster together, how it impacts other teams. And there's lots of movement around there, because you can make some of these 2-for-1 deals where, if you select this guy, give him back, we'll give you this. So there's a lot of maneuvering going around that expansion draft. And then free agency on August 1st is the other major event through the offseason, which is, again, an exciting time. We're trying to identify spots where you can maybe grab a veteran and fill. And sometimes it's stopgap, sometimes it's for longer term, but there's lots of decisions to go with that. And then there's the entry draft, which we know where we pick now. We have 2 first rounders, one from a trade we made with Philadelphia a few years ago. So we have the 8th and the 17th pick in the first round. So, and it's a very good draft. So there's a lot of, moving parts going on in the offseason that are going to impact the roster and the team that we roll out next year.
And I know people here in the Capital Region have this love affair with Joe Rez for good reason. He's a UAlbany guy, but he is a free agent, right? So you don't have to protect him?
Well, he's in a different category, so we would protect Joe.
Okay.
The way our league works is we have a franchise tag, and that franchise tag can be applied prior to age 34. After age 34, they can reject the franchise tag. So even though Joe is a free agent, he could still be selected and then franchised, retain his rights. So there's a little bit of, well, in our case, you can't take that chance. He's too high profile, too high impact, and too valuable to our organization. So in that case, we would. But somebody like Greg Downing and Brett Manny, who are over the age of 34 and free agents, those are players you wouldn't protect because they have the opportunity to sign wherever they want.
I gotcha.
Interesting. Okay.
So a lot.
There's some strategy. Yeah.
There's lots of little decisions behind the scenes that people that don't know the intricacies might go, you didn't protect him, you protected it. So it's, there's lots of little pieces of the puzzle that have to fit together.
Yeah.
Coach, I'll get you out of here on this. Now that you aren't in the playoffs anymore, will you continue to watch the playoffs? And then second part to all this, they teach you in journalism school, never ask a 2-part question because both parts generally don't get answered, but I'll do it here anyway for time purposes. How does the PLL then help the NLL? How do they play off one another that's advantageous? So will you watch the playoffs? And then how do these 2 leagues really kind of work together that makes it better for everybody?
First part of the question, I will watch the playoffs. I'll still pay attention. It impacts there's a lot of other information to gather from that. And the second part is I've actually relocated to the west coast of Canada in Nanaimo. I'm coaching junior A lacrosse, which is the indoor summer league. So a lot of our players, the majority of our players come out of that league. So I'll be paying attention to a lot of the junior stuff, but the PLL we'll have players in our league that are playing throughout the summer. So we'll certainly pay attention to that as well. So it'll be a combination of watching the indoor game in Canada, as well as the field game, the PLL game in, as they travel around through the summertime.
Awesome. Well, Coach, I've enjoyed this. Ashley gets to speak with you every week. I don't get that opportunity, but congratulations on a really, really good first year here in Albany. We love George Manius and Jordan LeMaestro, and they're our people. So we support them as much as we possibly can. It's been fun having the games on My4 where this show airs. Obviously, it gets the national exposure with ESPN Plus as well. I know Ash has enjoyed it immensely.
I've loved it. Yeah, it's been great to be a part of it, and hopefully we can do it again next year.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm ready to get back at it and get going again.
All right. Thanks, Coach. Enjoy your summer, but we'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
That's the head coach of the Albany FireWolves, Glenn Clark, with us here on Onorato and Company. Awesome.
They'll be back.
And yes, there's no doubt about it. And I said it. I just feel like this is different than every other experience we've had in the Capital Region because these are the absolute best players.
Yes. Yep. They are.
You're not looking at guys who are trying to get to the highest level. Correct.
They're already there.
Yep. All right, let's take a quick time out here, Ash. When we come back, we've got the Popeyes Louisiana Fast Minute. That's right after this break.
Happiness is found in simple things. The sun on your face, sharing laughs, at the campground, getting wet, relaxing together, the love of family. There's never been a better time to go outside and play. Alpenhaus Pool Spa Boat and RV, bringing families together and creating memories since 1964.
Teams, athletes, organizations. We're transforming the custom apparel industry through products and purpose. Claim your crown.
And now back to Onorato Company. Brought to you by Albany House.
All right, we do it on each and every single show here on Onorato Company, and that is the Popeyes Louisiana Fast Minute. Is when Ashley and I choose one topic going on in the sports world, maybe even eventually outside of the sports world, whatever is on our minds, whatever people are talking about, and we get a minute on the clock to share our opinion, our point of view, and then maybe if there's time, a little co-host rebuttal. Ash, you are up first.
All right.
On the Popeyes Louisiana Fast Minute.
All right. So Tom Brady, everything he does is in the news lately, but it's especially interesting when before you retire, well, check that. After you retire, unretire, and then pre-retire, we'll call it, you agree to a reported 10-year, $375 million deal to be a broadcaster. Fox has kind of disputed the details of this deal. Even if it's 10 years, $250 million, it's absolutely absurd. Tom Brady is one of the very few people on the planet who can make more in his post-retirement life than he did as the greatest NFL football player of all time. The guy made by the end of this season, will make $333 million. He will double that, more than double that, in half the time. He did that in 23 years. He'll do this in 10. If it's really that 375 that's reported, he's the only guy who can do it.
It is pretty insane, isn't it? That
unbelievable.
And we've done it before on the show. The salaries that are being thrown at their former quarterbacks.
Yeah.
To be broadcasters. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, are you watching a game because Brady's doing it? I don't know.
You might. Maybe.
Okay.
You're interested, I think, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, you're not kidding. All right, my Popeyes Louisiana Fast Minute here. Retire Rich Strike. I get this is the unpopular thing. People want to see the underdog go for a triple crown. It's not going to happen. We all know that. His owners know it. His trainer knows that they would never openly and publicly admit it. I'm not trying to be a downer here. I'm thinking in terms of what's best for this ownership group, this trainer, the stud fees of a Kentucky Derby winner, then retired. Make up an injury like they do in Major League Baseball, where a pitcher is having a couple of bad weeks. All of a sudden, he's got a tired arm. I don't know. There's something wrong with the toenail here that's hanging off Rich Strike. Get him to a stable somewhere where he will simply live a great retirement life. Don't risk bigger stud fees by chasing a triple crown that just will not happen. Great story. Love it.
No doubt.
But
we're short on time.
The
one thing I have to say here is one Kentucky Derby win does not get you the stud fees of a triple crown. I think people are confusing this. And if you don't think he's going to win the triple crown, then people probably aren't convinced that he's that great of a horse for the stud fees. Let him run, see what happens. He was 80-1 and he won the Kentucky Derby. Why can't he win another race?
Thanks for watching, everybody. We're here each and every week, Onorato Company, on the News Channel 13 Facebook, Twitter, YouTube pages, and on My 4.